Hey there guys, my name is Jack Beckwith and I am originally from Menlo Park, California. I'm now a student at the University of Pennsylvania and this is my peer assignment for week one of the Introduction to Music Production course on Coursera. So I thought that I would go through and compare some of the characteristics from two types of microphones that Loudon Stearns talked about in his week one lectures. The first being dynamic microphones and then condenser microphones. So I actually just went through the process of buying my own microphone, the one you see here. This is a condenser microphone, and so thought I'd share some of the insights that I gleaned through that process. So without further ado, I'll dive right into it, starting with some of the characteristics of a condenser microphone. Typically, condenser microphones are most common in a studio setting. Firstly, because they have a greater frequency response, meaning they cover a wider range of the frequencies that the human ear can perceive. They also have a greater transient response, which means that they can reproduce the speed of an instrument or a voice very accurately. Now, generally, they have a louder input and they're more sensitive to loud sounds. Also, they take what's called phantom power. They need a power source. And here I have my interface. There's actually a button here that is denoted by 48V or 48 volts, and I could press this if it were plugged in, and I would supply power to the microphone. Condenser microphones are also typically more fragile, and so for that reason they're a little bit less common in performance venues, but they can be used sometimes for something like drum overheads, or maybe for orchestral purposes, choral purposes. Also, there are two different types of condenser microphones. The one that Loudon mentioned time and again was the large diaphragm condenser microphone. And those are typically used for recording vocals because they give a very deep sound. They deepen the vocals and they warm the sound a little bit while recording. Now, there's another type, which is the small diaphragm condenser, and that's generally best for something like a string instrument because they give very solid wide frequencies and they reproduce frequencies very evenly and very accurately. So those are a little bit less common, but just thought I'd draw that distinction so that you were aware of it. Moving on, we'll talk about dynamic microphones briefly. As Loudon mentioned, they're a little bit more durable. They're resistant to moisture, and for that reason, they're typically the better choice while on stage. They don't require a power source or power supply, so that also is an added benefit in the performing venue. The sound quality is generally not as accurate, however, and you have a little bit more of a limited frequency response. So all in all, they're a little bit more suited for guitar amps, drums, live vocals, or recording of the sort. Now, I have heard that boutique dynamic microphones are becoming a little bit more common, and from what I can tell, they provide some of the benefits, some of the capabilities that you would find in a condenser microphone like this one, and a little bit added sustainability, durability that you would find in a typical dynamic microphone. So boutique dynamic microphones may be something on the rise in the future. But in any case, hopefully this has been a helpful lesson, and really looking forward to the next 5 weeks of the course. So thanks so much, guys. Tell me what you think.